Howdy everybody, here to do my monthly walkabout. We're, I don't know, about a third into the month, maybe, no, we're closer to halfway through the month of May. Absolutely beautiful time of year, and probably going to have to make a lot of cuts throughout this one because there's just so much to see, and yet at the same time things are slowing down. Right now, at least right now this year, my gardens are kind of like a two-stage rocket, and that first stage is just about burnt out. So things are kind of coming to a slow. That spring rush is calming down. All this asparagus is starting to get a little bit tired, so I'm going to stop harvesting and let it gain some more strength. The older the asparagus is, the further into the year you can harvest. I've heard some people say you can harvest into June once they're fully adapted and ready. But right now things are just kind of slowing down. Nothing's dying off, but it's just slowing down. We haven't hit the real summer heat for the real summer lovers to pop out and go crazy. And we are starting to get past all the spring ephemerals that jump out at you. So we'll start over here on my hugel mound. As you've already been looking at for a while, this beautiful purple asparagus. Looking great. Some strawberries right there. There's another flower on them. More strawberries, more flowers all throughout here. Another small, weak asparagus. Lots of big, healthy, happy garlic. And right there, we have Ohio Buckeye. I'm going to go starting off back this way. There's a curly dock, planted itself. I didn't plan on it, but I'm not tearing it out yet. More strawberries, some wild chives or wild garlic. Right there looks like some strawberries and skirret side by side. Got more curly dock, another asparagus behind it, and a bunch more garlic alongside my other Ohio Buckeye. We're gonna take a quick walk. There's not much to show you yet, but for those of you who've been watching for a while, you know that I have a trellis that is beautiful and crazy with maypops or cold hardy passion fruit later in the year. They're not up yet, so right now we've got some asparagus on both sides of the front. Got this huge patch of bee balm. I'm so happy to see how well it's doing. And I've planted beans all around. These beans last year did really well, and I managed to both get a harvest of beans, like dry beans, and a whole bunch of maypop all over this place. The beans haven't come up yet, quite sad to see, but the maypop I know will come up once weather's getting hotter. It likes it to be hot. So here we go, making a cut over to the food forest. See you in a minute. All right, here we go, moving along fairly quick. Magnolias are starting to bloom, and they'll be blooming for quite some time generally. Right in there, another beautiful example. I'll try to cook with the buds this year if I don't run out of time. So much to do this year, a lot of custom orders coming in. As we walk this way, this one's opened up yesterday, so it's a little more beat up, but beautiful, beautiful blooms. These opened up throughout today, so they're not so beat up, but beautiful magnolia blooms. You can make a tea from the petals, tea from the leaves or the petals. You can eat the petals. Whole bunch of garlic, a couple daffodils mixed in. Start walking through the wood chips. There's a sea kale starting out right there. That was just a piece of root I stuck in the ground. I divided one up, made a video on it earlier. Some asparagus, jujube trees, lots of walking onions. Right here is a cold hardy yucca. Over here is one of the trees from this year. Way down at the bottom of that tube is a Goumi berry. Got our beautiful, beautiful last blooms on our Aronias, and lots of berries. We're going to have lots of berries this year. Last year we had none. Here's one of my Szechuan peppers that didn't survive winter. I've learned that it has a native cousin that I should have grown from the get-go I'm going to work on. Here's one of my older Goumi berries. Super duper excited for it. It's got some fruit on it, but I'm having trouble spotting it. Here we go. Here's a spot. Yep, there, there. So I'll get to try my first Goumi berries this year if the birds don't beat me to them. And right over here, we have another Aronia berry that's kind of being outcompeted by this Soshan or cut leaf coneflower. Over there is a Baptisia. Over here is another Baptisia. For some reason they're not blooming quite yet, but that's okay. And walk over here. This Baptisia is mostly buds, but it does have some. I believe this one was called Strawberry Lemonade maybe, or Lemonade Sunset. I think Lemonade was in the name. Got another Goumi berry, onions, potatoes coming up. Right over here, again, big Aronia. We were just on one side of it. On the other side, we have some blue Baptisia or false indigo, and walking onion growing right up through the middle of it. You know, we've still got the rest of the stuff up there going on. Here, for those of you who watched my recent video on propagating cactus, this is one of my cold-hardy cactus. It's a comfrey popping up next to it. Probably a little too close, but we'll try to get them to get along. Walking onion, and that's another one of the Goumi berries, fresh from this year. Walking right over here, another medlar. This one's a fresh one, fresh planted this year, sending up some shoots. And it also has potatoes all around it, but they haven't come up through yet. Sorry for throwing the camera all around you guys. Got a tulip right there, getting what energy it can before bed. By bed, I mean it goes to sleep for the year. Aronia berry, already starting to get a little bit of pink on those berries. Cut leaf coneflower. Right over here, we have one of our bee balm. I believe this is Bradbury bee balm. It looks like it's already passed, but I have been keeping my eye out and I've never seen it bloom this year, so I don't know. Maybe I did miss it, but we'll keep an eye on it. Absolutely beautiful native wildflower. Next year I'll probably dig some up and divide it because I'd love to have more of it around. It's the earliest blooming variety I've got. Walking over here, a lot of weeds I need to work on, but more asparagus, more comfrey, some tayberry coming up from the ground. Horehound, which is a spice and a medicinal. Yep, beautiful comfrey. Medlar that's 2 years old. Start walking over this way. Here we have a sorbus, or a sorb, also called a charm tree in Britain, I'm told. They're a lot like medlar in that they're not edible raw or plain. You generally either freeze them a couple times or otherwise process them. But beautiful foliage and a beautiful tree. I'm excited to see how it goes. It's also got potatoes around it. Here we have green gauge plum, lots of bee balm around it, asparagus next to it, comfrey around it. Really excited for it. Another spot with a lot of comfrey, raspberries, potatoes are coming up. And this is my Odisso red love apple. The deer seem to really love the leaves. Maybe they can taste the anthocyanins in them. So it gets hit hard by the deer, but it's still trekking along. It's still doing its best. And it's a beautiful tree. It's going to be a red flesh apple. My wife got it for me 2 years ago as a Valentine's Day gift. So we'll start heading along. Of course, there's a lot of stuff in there to show you, but none of it's really going off right now in a way that's worth showing. So in the interest of time, we'll keep moving. Another patch of garlic. I let a whole bunch of chamomile go to seed here. I'm hoping that we get a bunch of chamomile come back. Right here we have, chestnut crab apples. It's supposed to be a dessert crab that are about the size of a large chestnut. We've got a purple raspberry and a contender peach. The contender peach in particular has a praying mantis egg sac on it, so we'll have praying mantises soon. Comfrey back there. Oh, looks like the raspberries got a hold of me. All right, we're free. Got a bunch of clover. We got this apple that's been chewed up a whole bunch. That is an Arkansas black apple. Got a bush cherry. Right in here, got a wild edible that I quite welcome called burdock. Big open leaves. Functions as a deep taprooted nutrient accumulator. It's got a taproot that can go up to 8 feet down, sometimes deeper. Pull up nutrients, puts them in those big leaves, and those big leaves rot every year. They deposit all that fertilizer right on the surface. More comfrey. does very similar. This tree right here is supposed to be a golden russet or a yellow russet. I can't remember. But it's the tree, it's the apple in particular that Skill Cult, another YouTuber, one that I'd recommend, one that's a lot better than me, he says it's the best apple he's ever tasted. So for that alone, I had to try it. Here we have another contender peach, looking absolutely beautiful. We've got garlic, strawberries, and more cut leaf coneflower around the base of it. Sprinkle them everywhere I can. Here's my big patch of cactus. You can even see the young new pads forming. Absolutely beautiful. I'd even say adorable. I find cactus to be very cute looking. It's the roundness, I think. Comfrey right next to it. I probably should cut it back. There's a bunch of carrots and garlic underneath these two trees. These two trees are hybrids. They are a pluot and a pluary. I've heard mixed results. Some say they're incredibly susceptible to disease. Some say they don't get disease issues at all. So we'll see. God, those comfrey flowers just captivate me. They open up at the front and they form all the way along that curl. So they bloom for a long, long, long time. Just ongoing blooms. And by the time that's done, another branch will have formed. So they feed the bees all year long really well. Get moving this way. We've got beautiful sunchoke patch. Cactus growing again. In here we've got chrysanthemum. I probably should weed and give it some fertilizer. But lots of beautiful stuff just coming up. Coming in here. We've got mushrooms. These were wine caps that were past good, so I left them for the animals. Big, beautiful green and yellow mat is Archer's Gold Thyme. Walmart is selling them again in my area and likely yours as an ornamental. They're sort of going to be sold next to like English ivy. I would never recommend English ivy, by the way. It's horribly invasive and a huge pain, but this Archer's Gold Thyme smells just like thyme. It's wonderful. I'd recommend it. It's very cheap and it's grown very well for me. Here we have a variety of bee balm that I got cheap. My mom wanted to try it and I will never say no to more bee balm. It's a pink variety. We bought it as rhizomes and it's come up. Got this big beautiful comfrey I need to cut back again next to my Peace Garden apple from St. Lawrence Nursery. Got a, I'm forgetting my words here, gooseberry, beautiful gooseberry. Most Americans are not familiar with gooseberry, but if you pick them while they're green, very tartness almost comparable to a lemon, very enjoyable because of that. Bunch of escaped mint I need to deal with, but sweetness and sourness comparable to a lemon. And if you let them mature, they're actually going to form a red or purple, very sweet, very pleasant berry. Right here we have my nature pond, looking very beautiful. The iris that I planted a few videos back are looking great. Hope I'm scaring away one of the kitties, so I'll move out of here in just a second. The pond's been a great thing to look at, but it's also been a great thing for the cats. They come and drink out of it all the time. So even though we give them water, if they prefer to drink it out of a native source or a natural source, as long as they're drinking water, you know? So I'm going to pause it here and think I'll take us over to the nut orchard next. See you in a minute, everybody. All right, howdy everybody. Skipped ahead over a bunch of stuff just to save time. Right here is a caramel cocktail persimmon from Gurney's. It's supposed to be an entirely native variety, natural variety like American persimmon. It's coming out pretty well now that it's been here for a minute. My only problem I've had with it so far is it didn't come with one of the little variety names, so it makes me a little nervous that I got the wrong thing, but we'll see. I'll talk to Gurney's about it if I don't think the fruit are what was described. But yeah, really cool American persimmon. Should survive our cold just fine. I'm going to start moving over to this trellis. This is where I harvested all that Apios americana, or hopness, and I put down a ton of mulch this year, far more than I have in previous years, and it looks like it's coming through just fine. There's some right there, there's some right there, there's some back here, back here. In fact, this one I'm just going to pull through and then back around so it can start climbing. That one popped up right in the middle of that skirret and reached up and grabbed and is starting to climb. Lots of it over there starting to climb. So all that's looking really good, and we've killed off a lot of the grass. When we harvested, we weeded, so we pulled up a lot of grass. Right here we have a cold hardy almond, which is actually an almond mixed with a peach. So I'm told you have to cook the almonds. I'm giving it a try, but I'm not going to be heartbroken if it doesn't do well. Way down in here, I have a cold hardy kiwi. Planted it earlier. It got frosted back. I thought for sure it was dead and over with, but it's doing well now. We got more Apios americana coming up. It all looks rather sad right now, honestly. I don't know why, but it's still growing up, so maybe it just hasn't fluffed out its leaves yet. But there's more spots of it coming up all over the more I look, so we should have plenty of hopness coming up this year. And of course I'll be planting more of it every year. Right over here we have our wild plum, the wild American plum. Though I would not at all be opposed to planting a slow, like a wild plum from Britain one day. Here we have bee balm going crazy. This is going to be a purple variety. And right down low there is another of those currants, Crandall clove currants. Lifting up the camera. Of course, you can see all the hazels and stuff way back there, but these first couple tubes that are really tall are all my Japanese walnuts. Here we have a shagbark hickory. It's been struggling year after year, but I'm hoping it'll catch up and do well. We're making our way around. Here's where I harvested that huge sunchoke last year. Looks like it's doing quite well this year. I thought I had gotten it all, but as you can see, it's coming up with a vengeance, which is kind of what it's good at. And I know I planted more Apios americana all over this area, but I'm not really seeing them come up very well. There's an asparagus I forgot I planted, but that's one of the great things about asparagus in my experience, is they're very low maintenance. Here we have one of those Japanese plums. They're growing very well, very fast, very strong. I'm quite a big fan of how nice they look. If they just keep growing well and keep surviving, I'm very excited to have them. Some people say they taste like a cross between a walnut and a pecan. Right over here we have this one, which was a American persimmon I planted last year. It grew pretty quick. It looked okay. I don't see any leafing out, so maybe it didn't make it. We'll have to wait and see. But that was another American persimmon. Starting out this way. This one is very crooked inside the tube. It hasn't made its way out the top yet, but it's another one of my walnuts. There's a Bocking 10 comfrey. There's some bee balm popping up around here. Right over here we have a hybrid. This one's Nikita's Gift, I believe, persimmon. Again, it's not leafing out in a way that's inspiring much confidence, but maybe they're just waiting for the heat. Maybe they're waiting for the hot month weather. So I'm not going to count it out yet. But that one's a hybrid between an Asian and an American persimmon. So it might not have the cold hardiness to make it here, but we'll see. Some stuff I'm reading says zone 5, and we're technically on the edge of zone 5 and zone 6. Here is one of my two thornless honey locusts. These are supposed to be great animal feed. Both the leaves and the pods. The pods are supposed to be very high in sugar and protein. And they're a nitrogen fixer. So great for chop and drop. I would love to propagate more of these, but for now I've only got the two. But they're a jug loan tolerant nitrogen fixer. And then there's my other walnut of my 4 Japanese walnuts. Yep, the frost hit them all is why they look so sickly, but they've got fresh leaves coming out. While my shagbarks have been notoriously bad so far, I have noticed that from Burnt Ridge Nursery I bought seedlings, and the seedlings were about that tall with the roots about as long as my arm, like from my wrist to my elbow. So huge root systems on these tiny trees versus these trees that had, you know, a 2-foot long stick and about a foot of root have struggled and never grown an inch. They've thrown out a few leaves and then done nothing, and a few leaves and done nothing. These ones that had that long root, even though they've been frosted back like this one, look like they've been doing quite well. So I have a lot of hope for them. Up next, a little worried for these, but oh, yep, there's some green in there. Sorry for the bird poop, but yeah, down in there, there's enough green to give some confidence. These are heart nut mixed with white walnut or butternut. So these are called Bart nut. I planted 2 of them. One of them pretty much immediately died back to the ground and came back from the ground, which was this one. So way down at the bottom there is some green, but it's nearly impossible to see. So these are both alive. They're not an improved variety. They're just a hybrid, but they're pretty cool, and I'd like to see them do well. From here on out, all the tall trees are chestnuts, and all the short ones are hazelnuts. So I'll probably give you a more thorough walk of that later. But yep, a lot of work this year already. And hopefully we're going to till up that area in between the trees and plant something like corn, maybe a Three Sisters garden, corn, beans, and squash. We'll see. But I'll see y'all in another video as soon as I can. Hope you enjoyed this one. Maybe you learned something. And I'll see y'all very soon. Goodbye, everybody.